Oh, hi there. It seems that you have stumbled upon this video amongst the forest of videos on YouTube, whether it's Limbus related or not. But since you are here, hi there. Welcome to the Abnormality Room, a series where I talk about the monsters made from the consciousness of Kim Jae-hoon's mind. And in this video, we're talking about the plenty of fairy abnormalities, which are the cute looking turned horrifying fairy festival, the massive fat fuck who's actually quite nice fairy gentleman, the deceptive and suspicious fairy of all fairies, fairy longlegs, another deceptive and suspicious quote-unquote fairy, Fey Lantern, and the non-canon Ayla fairy, Titania, who is actually quite cool. Short intro, I know, but whatever. So now that we're here, let's head a little bit deeper into the trees and start off with F-04-20-83 are the first few fairies that appeared in the Project Moon universe. Appearing in Lobotomy Corporation, they are a Zayn 4 type class abnormality, and they are a very cute and small group of fairies with a big fairy mother, the Queen. They may look cute, but the truth is that these little creatures are a little bit more beast-like in library. That is. So to explain the difference in their appearance, especially the queen, it is because of starvation. In LobCorp, the fairy queen is more chubby and greener, but in both Library and Limbus, it became more skinny and monstrous, more darker even. And our children now even combined with each other to make a mass of themselves for some reason. I don't know. Why the hell did they do that in the first place? Maybe to just not feel as hungry by turning into one being, I guess. Or maybe even because they were ordered by the queen. Most likely, but moving on. Originally in Lobotomy Corporation, the fairies were seen as a guardian, since it's a sacred act to be protected by fairies in any world. But then the employees realized the truth, that they weren't following you around because you are nice and that you love nature. No. It's because you are fresh meat to them. They want to feed on you, and the reason why they heal you in the first place is to make sure that you are as fresh as you can get. And once you enter a containment that is not theirs, they eat you as fast as they can, so that the other predator won't eat you, even if the actual abnormalities won't even think of it in the first place. They are, as said in the observation logs, are no more than carnivorous monsters. And now, well, they aren't even trying to hide it anymore. Back then, they were all happy and nice, talking to each other in their own language and all that. Maybe even talking about how to deceive humans. But now, they are very hungry, and they don't care anymore. Or, I guess the queen doesn't. Like, she became skinny as hell and is far too hungry to bother being nice, both to people and its children, since it, well, cannibalizes them. Well, they are animals that will hunt and kill for meat after all, so I guess it shouldn't be surprising there. In truth, a lot of these fairies aren't very complex thematically. All they want is to be imposters in disguise and eat your meat. Wait a minute. And the only difference there is between all of them is their methods of hunting people. So in the case of Fairy Festival, normally it would be 1. Have the queen send its babies towards its victims, pretending to be some sort of guardian. 2. The babies make sure that the victims are as fresh as they can be with their fairy magic, which the people call the fairies' care. And 3. Once the victim is fresh enough and nice, they kill him and eat him. Or they just eat him now, that way no other predator would eat them. But it is kinda meh to the taste since scarred meat isn't tasty. And speaking of, Windbeat Ishmael is cool, but very weird for her to have. At least to me. Since the fairies don't have much theming, it's kinda difficult to know why certain characters have the ego they have. And it is such a double-edged sword for me. I don't need to think much on what they are meant to represent, but it creates problems when understanding certain decisions. Thematically, that is. But oh well. I'll try my best. So, why does Ishmael have the Windbeat ego? Maybe it's because of her gluttonous want for something. Well, meat, she says it. After all, maybe there's something I don't understand. Or is it really that simple? Like, why Ishmael and not, I don't know, Ryoshu? Hell, the concept of gluttony is weird to me, but maybe I'm misunderstanding it with greed. But oh well. Let's move on to the Waluigi of fairies. F-01-11-15 is a tat tree tall fairy Like, very tall. The tallest amongst all the fairies. Or, I guess most, but whatever. This one's not canon anymore either way, so. Moving on, when we meet Fairy Longlegs in the Mirror Dungeon in the Emerald Forest, we first see him holding a massive clover as an umbrella from the green rain pouring in. According to the fairy, we might melt down head first, so we can either trust this fairy and go with him, or just weather the rain and leave. And I mean, look at him. He looks like such a gentleman. He has a tiny hat and even a tie. But don't mind his left arm though. So let's just go to him and see what he's like. What do you say? It's so cozy under this umbrella, isn't it? This damn rain robs me of all my food every time. I'm glad you could be kept savory, at least. Oh, you're concerned that the rain melts things? Of course not. The rain would heal you, rather. Then why did I say that it does, you ask? I mean, if you were exposed to that rain, I'd have to go through the extra trouble of peeling off the silky smooth integument with my own hands. But thankfully, this spares me the bother. Well damn, we just got debated and now we have to fight that thing. Huh. Oh well. So every time it stabs us with its paddle, it feeds our flesh to its stomach teeth, which, first of all, easy access to digestion, so that's cool for him. But he's also a picky eater, so he puts down a massive tree in order for the rain to not spoil the food. So, yeah, that's something. So, essentially, the strategy that this dude is essentially doing is 1. Lure people to enter his umbrella by lying about the rain, and 2. Once they get close enough, stab them and eat their guts out with its stomach. Very simple there. Also, you know how ironic it is that Ishmael has these two fairies? One that she has ego off of and another as an observation log? Surely there isn't another fairy that Ishmael has to deal with. Not even a chance. Like, the chances of that happening is a 1 in 3 chance. Like, come on. There's no way that she would have an ID that sucks ass and is a fairy. Like, come on. Ugh, for fuck's sake. F-01-11-12 is a big old fat ass Tet Tree class fairy who is actually pretty nice. To us, that is. Fairy Gentleman is a literal big boy with teeth in his big old belly. But the only thing that differs him from the rest of the fairies is its slimy flesh. He also has a small tie and a hat and also a wine glass of fairy juice. But we'll talk about that part later. So in the Mirror Dungeons, we meet this big boy in a green cavern full of smells, good and bad. So when we meet him, he wants to give us a drink. A fairy drink, to be specific. It smells awful, but once we all drink it, we all heal. Such a nice dude. But if we decide to be mean and smack the drink off of him, we get into a battle. Like, why would you even do that, man? You could have just left and got the glass anyway, out of kindness. Like, why are you so mean to him, man? Like, I'm looking at you, mate. How dare you? Anyways, yeah, this guy's a joke when we fight him though, so whatever. If there's anything that we can talk about the Wario Fairy, are its drinks. Because if you haven't guessed it already, this dude is a cannibal. He hates eating human, and instead just kills and eats the fairies. Now, why did he betray his kind in the first place? I'd say different tastes. Perhaps. Don't need to go too deep for abnormalities that don't need to dig in too deep for to understand it. So maybe it is just that. But if I were to assume if the fairy gentleman had a taste for human instead of fairy, I think it would hunt a similar way it does when we battle it. Try to get us to drink and eat us. That's it. Nothing too complicated there. Anyways, Sloshmel fucking sucks. Let's move on. Fairy Lantern is a bit controversial to talk about when it comes to its relation to the fairies, because it has more relations to, or I guess similarities towards, Meat Lantern instead, whom I considered talking about in this video, but it's not a fairy, so whatever. And Fairy Lantern has a fairy with it, so why wouldn't I talk about it? And you know what? Tell me if you consider Fairy Lantern a fairy or a Meat Lantern variant. You can also subscribe if you haven't as well while you're doing that. Like, I'm close to 1K. Thank you. Anyways, F-04-21-3 is another Tet Tree class abnormality that is contained in 2 parts, the fairy and the tree. The fairy is here as a lure, although it does speak, which suggests that the Fey Lantern is using the fairy as a puppet and can speak through it. But I'm not too sure. The main part of the Fey Lantern is the tree. Otis surmises that this tree is over 100 years old, and that the rest of the tree is underground, hiding its roots and all that. Like, it's probably massive considering what the ego shows, but we'll talk about them later. In the mirror dungeons, we can meet it in a peaceful and quiet forest. We might be a bit tired, and we can take a momentary break, but that causes us to fight quite an easy enemy, like it's not that big of a deal. Or we can move onward, and there is where Fey Lantern speaks, saying that there is no such thing as free gifts, which is kind of creepy, but understandable. Now, as it's not a fairy, kinda, it doesn't really have any sort of relationship with them that we can talk about. But luring people close enough to kill them and eat them are the usual kind of thing that they all do when hunting, so that's cool, I guess. Now, before moving on to the last fairy abnormality, let's talk about Ego, Lantern Gregor, and Lantern Sinclair. You know what's interesting about these two? Both Lantern Egos represent the two different bodies of Fey Lantern, with Sinclair being the fairy, and Gregor being the tree. It's quite interesting to see that. Now, the reasons as to why they have the ego design that they have is simple. Gregor has the tree because he is what the LCE call an exception, since he is hiding his true form, intentional or not. Just like how the tree is hiding its true form as well. Whomst Gregor will also show his form one day, so that's cool. As for Sinclair being the fairy, it's more complicated to talk on him. So, you know how the fairy is a lure, right? Which makes it the reason why people are lured in by it. Attracted, you can say. Wait a minute. And what does Sinclair, a kid with almost nothing to show for, has to offer as a lure? I'd say his red mark. And that's it. One of the least explained things that is not shown after its first appearance was the red mark that Sinclair and his boyfriend Damien have. And I'm kinda disappointed, since we have been told that there are some characters that do have the red mark other than Sinclair, which is sad. So, as I explain this, I guess this red mark is the reason why Sinclair is the fairy part of the Fey Lantern. It's a lure, it's something to focus on. But then again, I could be reaching and I can be wrong, so I'm not too sure. Maybe the both of them have something going on with each other, I don't know. Anyways, oh yeah, the Yisan ID. This ID probably has nothing to do with Fey Lantern, maybe, and I don't want to bother too much with his ass and his long as fuck skill names, so whatever, let's move on towards the last abnormality for the day. Titania is a non-canon ALF level abnormality from the spin-off novel to Lobotomy Corporation, Wonderlab, and she is pretty cool. This abnormality acts almost similar to Fairy Festival, which should not be a surprise, it's a fucking aberration, but for different reasons. Fairy Festival hangs around for food, they hunt. They are wild animals, but Titania, on the other hand, is a queen of the fairies who is never tired for searching for her husband, Oberon. Oh, and he is also her nemesis who stole her child, by the way. Which, from what this dude says, doesn't actually exist, so that's nice. Unless Fairy Festival is Oberon, or even her child, I'm not too sure. But we do get some sort of glimpse of what Oberon might have looked like, because of another aberration, nobody is. A mirror that wants to imitate a person as a whole. Their personality, their everything. And as to why this thing is related to Titania in any capacity, is because of her meeting it. It transformed into something that at least looks like Oberon, which looks kinda cool actually, so that's something. Although, if it was in Limbus Company and had a rating, I doubt it would have been ALF. Maybe a he class? But that is just from what I've read, so I'm not too sure. Anyways, yeah, hopefully in a few more weeks, Kanto 8 releases, so that's cool. So, bye.